How is it going, Bears fans? Welcome back to another episode of Beared Down Uncut, the show where we talk everything Bears every day of the week. Today, in episode 154, we're going to be reacting to and breaking down the news of Justin Fields starting in the preseason finale against the Tennessee Titans. How important are the snaps going to be for Fields? And we're also going to be reevaluating when he will get the chance to come in and finally play during the regular season. Before I introduce myself and my co-host, I would like to say we took a couple days off here, but we're going to get back doing this consistently. We're trying to post videos each and every day, put out the most comprehensive Bears coverage on the web. So if you want more of this and want to continue to support us, we keep coming back because you guys keep absolutely killing it with the support. So do us a favor, wherever you are listening right now, drop a like, subscribe, follow, and we're going to keep coming to you guys hopefully each and every day. We're going to start probably pre-recording videos the night before, so if there's some news, it probably won't come out on our channel until the next day, but we want to get you guys as much Bears content as possible, and we're going to keep coming back to you. I'm your host, Chris Maltby, today to talk about the preseason finale a little bit. I am joined by my co-host, Parth. Parth, you had a heat stroke a couple days ago. I've been moving into college, getting situated. Things are getting busy again, but how's it going?
Doing pretty good. Yeah, I just started my first day of school like this Monday, so been busy with that. Like that full college season's kicking back into gear. It's also in-person school this year, so it's a lot harder, a lot more. You got to walk to class and stuff. You can't just roll out of bed and hop into a Zoom call. It's not the same anymore.
While you're recording a podcast on the side.
Exactly. While recording a Bears podcast on the side, so you can't be doing all that anymore. So you actually got to be attentive in class and stuff. But, it's fun to be engaged in all that, especially because, it keeps me busy. And here we are finding some time during the middle of the day to record a video for you guys, because with school and stuff, it gets a little bit difficult. Like Chris said, we'll be pre-recording videos because it's hard to, find a time where we all don't have classes or like aren't at the gym or aren't doing work or whatever it is in college and stuff. So a lot of busy things going on, but still going to put out videos for you guys almost every single day of the week.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that a lot of people don't realize. Our brand's compiled entirely of college and high school students, and it definitely becomes a juggling act. Like, for example, this semester, I'm not taking any classes. I'm doing a sports media internship that I need to do to graduate with my honors scholar. So I'm doing that. I'm playing college tennis. So it's going to be a lot of 10 p.m. recording sessions and stuff coming out a little bit later, but we're still trying to grind and get you guys as much content as possible. So let's jump into it today. Justin Fields will be taking the field and starting in the first two quarters against the Bears preseason game against the Tennessee Titans this weekend at Nissan Stadium down in Nashville, Tennessee. Matt Nagy has obviously pulled Andy Dalton, reiterating that he's going to be the week one starter. So now we know that's probably going to realistically be the case, but I guess there's no better spot to start than here, Parth. We're finally going to see Fields get some reps with the ones in practice this week, get some reps against ones in Nashville. Obviously, last preseason game of the year, there's going to be some important players that are out, but overall, how important do you think these snaps are for Justin Fields against the ones?
They're very important. I mean, last week we saw, Justin Fields only get to play in the second half, which was a little bit frustrating. I thought, I would have loved to see Justin Fields out there in the first half, especially at the end of the second quarter, to get more playing time in those situations where I feel like he thrives in, where he doesn't have much time, where he just, does his thing. And he could have put up some points, flash some of his flashiness that he could have, and just valuable reps for him. So I'm excited to see him get these starting reps in week 3 of this preseason. I think he really needs them. In practice, I feel like the Bears don't go as hard as other teams. I feel like last week we saw that happen. I mean, the Bears got absolutely demolished by Mitch Trubisky and the Bills. Who would have thought that? I didn't see that coming at all.
That was karma for you.
I just feel like Matt Nagy's got to push him harder, especially in practice. I think there's too much slacking going on, and you see the wide receivers dropping balls every day. Things like that cannot be happening in year 4 of Matt Nagy, who's still trying to get this offense going. And now he's got his guy. He's got Justin Fields. So I think this week is very important for these two to showcase how his maturity and how he's matured over the training camp and over these 2 preseason games.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how Matt Nagy opens up the playbook for Justin Fields' skill set. You'd assume there's some stuff there that Andy Dalton can't do, and we're going to kind of see the full repertoire of Justin Fields this weekend in Nashville. I think it's important because, I mean, primarily because we've seen Justin Fields go up against some defenses and make some really nice throws, and the receivers sometimes just can't haul it in. I think the one play that specifically comes to mind was against the Bills in this game last weekend, where Fields had a really nice deep back shoulder throw to Riley Ridley, I believe, and it was right over the defender about 40 yards down the field, and it was just dropped. Someone like a Robinson or a Mooney, and I'm not sure if we're going to see those guys play, but someone like them would haul that pass in. So I think it's important because not only is Justin Fields going to have better protection around him, but he's going to have the weapons around him that are going to be able to get open, and we're going to see Justin Fields' full skill set and see if he can deliver to these prime offensive weapons against prime defensive players as well. We'll see who the Titans end up putting out there. I said it earlier, a lot of players are probably going to be sitting, but just to get Justin Fields some reps with the ones, hopefully get some of the starting offensive linemen out there, see him use his legs, extend plays, deliver down the field to guys like Marquise Godwin, Damiere Byrd, hopefully Allen Robinson and Darnell Mooney. Not sure if we'll see them, but overall, I think these reps are really important for Fields, and we'll finally get to see if he's ready for the NFL, the play speed, everything that comes with being a starting quarterback here. It's all going to be shown here in week 3 of the preseason. Parth, let's move on to the next topic. I mean, obviously, the Bears sitting Dalton this week means they're probably 99.9% chance going to go with him week 1. But we've talked about it all offseason. We evaluated it back during the draft. We heard some murmurs throughout the preseason and OTAs that maybe Fields was going to get the chance to start. But it looks like the Bears are trying to go, obviously, with the Kansas City Chiefs approach with Alex Smith and Patrick Mahomes, let him sit for a while and then throw him in. But when realistically do you think we end up seeing Fields playing as the QB1 for the Chicago Bears this season? Hello, buddy.
I'm not. Let's call my Wi-Fi was kind of lagging out for a little bit, but just I don't know how Matt Nagy is doing this. I've been one to criticize him on Twitter a lot. I've said that Justin Fields gives the Bears the best chance to win week in and week out. And even if that's against the Rams, against a team who's got Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Donald, Leonard Floyd on the other side, I think Justin Fields still is a lot more talented than Andy Dalton. Yes, he hasn't played in the NFL or hasn't had regular season action yet. And putting him out there week 1 under the bright lights might be a scary decision. I'm the one who's gonna say I feel like we should. He's made for the moment. We've seen it happen before. He's done it in the national championship game, the semifinals against Trevor Lawrence. So I'm the one who's going to say to start him week 1, but realistically, I'm going to go with week 4. I think Matt Nagy's really eyeing that week 4 matchup against the Lions. It makes the most sense to me. It's the easiest opponent in the first 4 weeks. The Bears have some tough opponents this year, but I don't understand this gatekeeping thing that what Matt Nagy's trying to do. You're going to have tough teams all around the NFL. You're going to be playing tough defenses week in and week out. And that's just something that the quarterback and him have to figure it out. I mean, if he truly thinks that Justin Fields isn't ready, then I understand that. But with everything I've seen and with everything what I've been hearing, I feel like Fields has been ready and he should be starting week 1.
Yeah, Matt Nagy said yesterday before practice that going into the regular season, he's going to evaluate Dalton and Fields based on whoever is going to be best for the Chicago Bears. And I've said it all offseason. I'll say it again, and it's probably getting annoying, but this isn't going to be a training wheel situation like Mitchell Trubisky. There's nothing to pull off. I think Justin Fields is really ready for this moment. We've talked about him starting 35 games in college, playing in the national championship games and in beating some of the best teams in college football on the biggest stage possible. This is the NFL. It's definitely a jump up, but Parth brings a good point too. This is the National Football League. There's good defenses riddled throughout the league. Maybe there's an ideal spot to put in a quarterback, but that's never going to last. You're going to play good defenses regardless. So I'm going to say, I'd like for him to start week 1. Is it going to happen? 99.9% chance, no. At this point, I don't think, unless he completely goes off here against the Titans, and then maybe we have a discussion. My confidence level isn't high in Andy Dalton, and we'll get to that a little bit later. I think Dalton could be possibly a little bit serviceable, but we haven't seen any flashes from him that have made us jump and be surprised that and think he's going to last here for a while.
He hasn't done anything in the preseason games to make me even feel like he should be the starting quarterback. All I've seen is 3 and out so far. It's been the same old Matt Nagy offense we saw with Nick Foles, we saw with Mitch Trubisky. And the thing about Andy Dalton is we've seen so many quarterbacks like him quarterback the Chicago Bears for such a long time. Those mediocre quarterbacks who it's there's no point. There literally is no point. But here we are. Matt Nagy is the head coach of the Chicago Bears. I wonder if Ryan Pace has something to say about this as well. I would love to hear what he thinks should happen. I feel like Ryan Pace is someone who'd rather see Justin Fields out there week 1 because I feel like their jobs aren't as secure as they both think they are.
Yeah, and that's an issue. I mean, you'd assume, the Bears' first 3 weeks, we've got the Rams, which if Dalton starts, I probably will pick the Bears to lose in that one. Week 2, the Cincinnati Bengals, I'd probably pick that one to be a shootout. If Dalton's starting, probably give the edge to Chicago. We'll have to see about that one and how the defense specifically performs in week 1 because obviously Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Joe Mixon, they've got a pretty good crew coming in week 2. And that's not going to be a gimme game whatsoever. I mean, Burrow's going to continue to develop. It's not a training wheel situation with Fields. I've said it all offseason.
Week 3 at Cleveland against Myles Garrett is not
It pisses me off just because contractually I feel like they probably promised Dalton that he was going to start. But if Nagy's going to stick up to his word and say that whoever gives the Bears the best chance to win needs to be the starting quarterback. If he's going to stick to that word, I feel like you have to take a step back after this game in Tennessee and really ask yourself that question and look deep down and
it also really comes down to how Justin performs against Tennessee. I mean, he is starting. He's going to have a lot on his shoulders, a lot on his plate. Can he recognize those blitzes? Can he recognize what coverage the defense is in? All those small things. Going into week 1, I think will still be evaluated. Even though he's come out and said that Andy Dalton's the week 1 starter, if Justin Fields does something incredible, and if Andy Dalton still struggles the next couple of days of training camp, we could see us flipping the switch.
I love how fired up you are today.
It's just I'm done with class. It's only 12:30. I'm ready to just relax. It's about to start raining. It's been super hot here. I'm ready to just just chill.
Dude, there was like a tsunami here this morning.
I'm hoping, bro. We haven't.
And if the Bears start Andy Dalton week 1, the Bears start Andy Dalton week 1, and it doesn't go too well, then there might be a tsunami in Chicago.
From us and
there might be a tsunami in Chicago. We'll see.
There might be a tsunami in Chicago.
But let's move on to Andy Dalton. We've talked a lot about Fields, but before we close this one off, I want to talk a little bit about our level of confidence. I guess we can just do 1 through 10 in Dalton heading into the regular season. Parth, obviously, regardless of who's starting at quarterback, the Bears have a really tough matchup week 1. Matthew Stafford and the new-look Rams. An offense that killed us last year that we haven't beaten since 2018. 2018
was that 4 interception game by Goff.
Yeah, but obviously they acquire Matthew Stafford. They still have Kupp. They still have Robert Woods. They still have their entire repertoire minus Cam Akers. And then that defense has a ton of playmakers, Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Donald, Leonard Floyd, as you mentioned. So generally speaking, heading into this week 1 game, and I guess just heading into the regular season as a whole, what's your level of confidence in Andy Dalton? Where would you put that number?
I'm going to give it a solid 3.5. It's just it's hard to put it anything above 5. We've seen him in this preseason. He had that one throw to Rodney Adams that went for the touchdown. But other than that, he hasn't done anything special.
That was probably a better catch than a throw.
And it was a really good catch. I thought it was like a top 10 catch. I think it was on top place for SportsCenter that night. And the throw was at least 3 yards behind him. But I'll give it to Andy Dalton still. But he's still a good quarterback. He's a veteran quarterback. He's someone who's always played his role, I guess, and his role is to just manage the game, and I think he does that pretty well. And the Bears have had quarterbacks who've done that really well the last couple of years. I'd say Mitch Trubisky is a really good game manager, even though he doesn't get enough credit. Nick Foles was a pretty decent game manager, even though his time in Chicago was pretty bad. But I think that's the same thing that Andy Dalton does to the Bears, that little game managing situation. I'm going to give it a 3.5. I would have loved to see more out of him in the preseason to give him a better rating. But he's had some really good days in training camp, so I'm still. I mean, at the end of the day, he's still the Bears quarterback. He's on the team. I'm gonna support him, and I'm gonna hope for the best. Obviously, like a lot of other Bears fans that just don't want to see Andy Dalton, I'm with you, but I mean, we don't have any control on the team. We're just here to watch. So.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a 5 personally. I think I'm going to continue to stay strong on my point that I think Andy Dalton will perform better than the tandem of Mitchell Trubisky and Nick Foles did a season ago. But, I'm still rooting for Dalton, just like Parth. I still want Justin Fields to play. I think it makes sense for Justin Fields to play. Everyone online saying Justin Fields should play. Subbing in Justin Fields opens up a whole new dynamic to the Bears offense because of his
speed. Yeah,
his speed and ability to extend plays. That's not something that Andy Dalton essentially can do. But I think you have to give Dalton credit where it's due at some point as well, because I do think he's been getting underestimated the entire offseason. He did a pretty solid job last season with the Cowboys. He led the Bengals to multiple consecutive playoff appearances, never resulted in a playoff win, obviously, but got them, I believe, to win that division a couple times and also earned some wild card spots when the right weapons were put around him. Matt Nagy's calling plays. I kind of wish it was Bill Lazor, not only because I think Bill Lazor will work better with Fields, but also because Bill Lazor was the play caller for Andy Dalton in Cincinnati during multiple of the playoff seasons.
The offense took off when Lazor took over play calling last year too, so...
Yeah, the offense did look better near the end of the season when Lazor did start calling plays, but I'm going to go with my level of confidence in Dalton as a 5. I almost would like to guarantee that we'll see Fields at some point this season. I'm not going to go ahead and say that, but I'm almost 99.9% sure that we will, just like I'm 99.9% sure that he probably won't start week 1, but I'm also very confident that we'll see him at some point this season. I think Andy knows, as he said during his interviews, that Justin Fields will have a great career and his time is coming. And Dalton did end that interview by saying his time to be the Bears' quarterback is now, but I do believe that will be pretty short-lived. So thank you guys so much for tuning into episode 154 of Uncut. If you want more content from us, please do us a favor, like, subscribe, comment, follow. Keep supporting us. We're going to keep coming back to you guys with Bears content each and every day. Click the link at the top of the description to go to our website, bearddown.com. We've gotten that fired back up. We're posting columns, articles, and blogs to get you guys ready for the regular season. If you'd like to see sneak peeks of guests we're going to have on the show, which will be coming soon, I promise. I know you guys want to hear from Bears reporters and other people. We're going to line some up for later this week. If you would like to enter some giveaways that we're going to have, and also just a great way to interact with us and tell us what you want to see here on the show. You can find the podcast on Instagram and Twitter at Beared Down. And finally, you can find the links to Parth and my social media pages, down in the description, our Instagram and Twitter pages. You guys have been absolutely blowing it up on both of those platforms all summer. It's a great way to see our thoughts on all things Bears, all things NFL, and the entirety of Chicago sports. Parth Shaw, middle of the day podcast. This is probably going to be a rarity here soon, unless it's on the weekends. But we've got to record another one today for tomorrow, later tonight. It's going to be a lot of grinding, but any last words before we close this one off?
I'm about to go back to doing some homework, but yeah.
The struggle is real. Back to reality, man.
Yeah, no, it is back to reality. It sucks, but, I don't mind it at all. It's going to suck in a couple of weeks when, like tests and stuff coming up, and it's just going to be a pain. But until then, you got to enjoy it. And then, Bears football is coming up very soon. So the regular season, 2.5 weeks away. Couldn't be more excited for this year. I think this year's going to be super fun. A lot of teams are going to break out. It's going to be some surprises. I don't think people understand that 17 games is a whole different animal. One extra game can change a lot of different
And the
things.
extra playoff spot, too.
Exactly. So that, too, 7 spots. The Bears can get in as the 7th seed again. But we'll see what happens. It's going to be a great season for that. And for sure everyone's starting up school again. So that's good luck to everyone who's starting up school.
Yeah, a lot to look forward to. Obviously, a new look Lions with Jared Goff, possibly the last dance there in Green Bay. Vikings are always a solid opponent, and the Bears have a lot of tough teams coming up. 3rd toughest strength of schedule in the league. A lot of people predicting that their ceiling is going to be pretty low and their floor is going to be very low. So it should be interesting to see if the Bears can exceed expectations or not. It's really all going to come down to what the topic of this video was, Justin Fields. When is he going to get the opportunity and when will he play? We shall see. There's a lot to look forward to as we continue to approach the 2021-2022 season. Guys, it's been a pleasure to be your host. Once again, my name is Chris Maltby. And as always, do us a favor and stay safe and bear down. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.